bet y'all been asking yourself the same thing multiple of my friends and customers have been asking me. BBI, where you been? Well, let me tell you, I got a story for you all. I built this huge box, and I built it and it's super pretty, right? I honestly feel it's one of the prettiest things I've ever built. We're going to have a video on it next week. But this big box, to try and get this thing to run has been a challenge and a quarter. So I'm like a dog that gets a hold of the squirrel, you know? And I'm not going to come off a project until, well, I get it figured out. This amp has taught me a lot. Not this particular amp. This is from my friend Eddie Diaz. This is his 2x8, which has been here now 4 times. This is the 4th time. He's a 4-time offender here. This is a repair that I did. This is a Fat Boy. It was originally a Fat Boy that I did for a complete another customer, and then it went out there in the universe, and then the guy broke it and then sold it on eBay, and Eddie bought it, and then I've been dealing with it ever since. But all that aside, where I have been has been working on one project. And when you build something really, really pretty that takes literal, 300-400 hours to put together, when you go in there to work on it, you want to try and maintain how pretty it is. So I've spent the last 3 weeks trying to get this one box to tune, and I finally got it to work tonight. And I'm super excited about that. So it has spent most of its life, the last 3 weeks, sitting right here on this workbench, and I've been changing things in it, trying to find out where the imbalance was in the circuit. Which you think, well, it's just a simple pillbox, it can't be that complicated. Well, taking into account I'd never built one in this particular style. I've built several of these boxes before. This was like the crown jewel, because I honestly feel that this amp is going to be the last one that's produced like this forever, taking into account how much the 2879s cost. So I really poured a lot of energy and effort into this amplifier, and it is pretty. If you've been in contact with me in the last 3 weeks, you'll know my frustration level with this. Repairs, how I work around here is I'll bang out usually one repair, and then I'll work on a new build project. And I do that every day. I do it about 5-6 days a week. So that's about 4 to 5 amplifiers leave here every week that have been repaired. Well, I've been so frustrated with this box because of what it is and how much money that has been wrapped up in it, that's all I have worked on for weeks. We're talking 5-6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Like last night, I started on it yesterday at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't go in the house until 7:30 this morning. Just trying different things to try and find out what's causing the imbalance in the box. And what it ended up being, it all comes down to this stuff. Guys, this is called 316 coax. This is a mill standard coax with a Teflon dielectric in it. This is a dual shielded coax. So this is 316 DS. This stuff here. And the problem that we run into with this coax is that you can solder it, score it, cleave it, and make it nice and smooth and clean one time. So after you solder the thing to the board about 5 or 6 times of you holding it down and you holding it down, 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 and soldering and trying to move it over here or move it on this portion of the combiner or move it over there, this is what you end up having. You get a big frayed up ugly mess. Now electrically you can just blob a bunch of solder over this and it'd be okay, but taking into account I want to make this my crown jewel, every single time I go and pull a coax lead up, that was like a 4 or 5 minute process, because I'd heat this up, pull it off there nice and slow and smooth, and then I'd re-tin this and make sure it was all perfectly straight and clean. Well, I have torn apart 3 or 4 sections in this box 3 or 4 times, took it all the way down to the heat sink. I mean, we're talking like measuring the 10 ohm resistors and making sure they weren't more than 1% out of spec. God, It just, my days have run into one giant blur the last couple weeks, but I got it figured out. Now, last weekend I needed to take me a mental break from staring at the same project, and I sat down and I did 3 repairs. I did this one, a 1x4, and then a messenger that I repilled and rebuilt. I'm going to do videos on all of those today, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do repairs for the next couple days. I'm physically out of space. My shop, I've got one little walkway and the rest of it's full of cardboard, and my shelving units are completely full. I got to start doing repairs. But one amplifier has occupied 100% of my time for 3.5, almost 4 weeks. Period. And that's where I've been. So, unless stuff is getting produced that goes out the door, hence the videos don't get made for your consumption, which has been very frustrating to me, because I'm not going to lie, I enjoy being able to sit out here and do these things with you guys. I enjoy being able to do the videos for the my YouTube fan base. I've been doing off and on about every other night. I've been doing a 15 or 20 minute, maybe an hour long live feed on some of the other off projects I've had going on. The other thing that's happened is I had my teacher, my mentor, and one of my closest friends. He was here 3 or 4 times through this entire process. In the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been here 3 times and been through here, and we've hung out, and which was a great learning experience, because we were able to sit down and talk LD Moss like a Mad Hatter. And we got a couple really neat things getting ready to come out. I got a whole new board design as far as the LD Moss boards are concerned. We've got a bunch of stuff going on with that I don't think is relevant to bring up in this video right now, but we got a bunch of really cool stuff that's just about ready to happen. It's right around the corner. The next production box that you see come from here will be an LD Moss box. I am running currently at the moment somewhere between 12 and 15 months behind on new build projects. I have not taken a new build project since last year. The last one I took was, well, October or November of last year. So I'm still building off that list. And every single one of these big projects that I have that is at the end of the list, I've only got about 5 or 6 left. I got a couple of them that are going to go pretty quick. I got a couple 2x6 base stations I got to build, which it's something we already know. We can bang those out real quick. It's just been one delay after another. And my days have turned into what it just felt like the last month is get up, shower, shave, go stand in shop for a minimum of 12 hours a day, be frustrated, come in, eat, go back out and shop for another 4 hours or so, and then pass out. And I had to wake up this morning. I had to ask my wife what day of the week it was, because I've lost track. It's just been the same thing. Nothing's left here, but still everybody's sending me their repair projects. So I figured out what that was. I physically ran out of 316 coax, because when I'd screw up a piece of coax, I'd pull a whole lead of coax out and replace it with a new one. So that is what has afforded us. Today I figured out what was going on, and it has to do with elevation of coax above ground. It has to do with capacitance with elevation of coax above surface ground of board, which was really hard to come back to that conclusion, but I proved to myself definitively, and then I moved the wires all around and managed to drive the box up to about 6,000-7,000 bird, which was great. I didn't have any imbalance in the input or output tuners. It was pretty slick to see that happen. I'm really quite excited about it. I'm just really tired today. I feel like I've been on one of them little hamster wheels just going in a circle, because it shouldn't have been that complex, but because I built such a fancy amp design, I ended up running into a problem at the core of it. So I came into that, but I actually broke that down. I figured this out. I've got the box working. Now I got to make it all pretty so I can put it out here for you all to look at, because I know how y'all love your amp porn. You freaking love your amp porn. So I had to order some more 316 coax. I think what I go through about 300 feet and trying different wiring configurations, and I finally got it figured out. So I ordered another 300 or 400 feet tonight, and I gotta wait for it to show up. So that project's on pause, and we're gonna utilize that time. I'm here to tell you, we're gonna utilize it, and we're gonna do a bunch of repairs, And I want to get everybody an update, because what has turned into is my phone rings a lot. Where are we at with my project? Where are we at with my project? Hey, I sent you my amp like 2 months ago. Have you had a chance to look at it? I sent my amp 4 months ago. Have you had a chance to look at it? You guys got to remember, there's only one of me. Okay? I don't get to live in a world where I have 5 or 6 employees, nor do I ever want to have that many. So when you call me on the phone, it's a personal thing. And when you ask me to build you something, it is a personal thing. I'm building it for you personally. I'm not building it for, mass line construction, masses. And I think that's what people really enjoy about it. That I'm going to take that much time and that attention to detail. So when I get to an end of a project and the thing doesn't work right, I'm not going to come off of that until it's done. And it's done 100% where I can put it up here on a video for public review. I'm there. I'm electrically there. Visually not there on this project. And that's what I'm waiting on, is to be able to make it just visually stunning. Because I want everybody to just, their jaw to just drop. I mean, you can go anywhere in the country. You can probably go, there's probably about 10 or 15 other people that you could go to get a box built. The thing that makes it unique for me is the attention to detail on when I put it together. So, anywho, that's where we're at. That's where I've been. I appreciate everybody calling and checking on me. My week started, I think it was Monday or Tuesday of this week. I don't know. It was the beginning portion of this week. And I got woke up out of bed at about 8:30 in the morning by Mr. Tech 9 himself. Hey, BBI! Hey, what's going on, Tech 9? How you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. Man, are you all right? Well, what's going on, Tech 9? He goes, well, you ain't put out no videos, and I was starting to get a little worried about you, buddy. Is everything okay? My good friend Tech 9, Mr. Thomas, good guy. I refer people to him, probably 3 or 4 people a week. He's not quite as backed up in builds as I am, but he's still backed up 2 or 3 months. The other person that called and checked on me this week was Nate Jones. He wanted to know why I haven't been putting up any videos and what was going on. And Nate Jones, that's Hooper Radio Services, Amp Building Services. I've had my good friend over at Scorpion Radio Repair. He's called me and checked on me. I've had about 30 or 40 of you other guys call and check on me. Where are you? It's like you guys are going through withdrawals or some shit. I feel bad. Production has come to a complete stop. Repairs have come to a complete stop. And any and all timelines on these last couple builds are just out the window. I've got a big trip planned next month, by the way. And this trip's been in plans now for 8, 9, all year, since last Thanksgiving, actually. So when that happens, my ass is out of here and I'm going on vacation. But all that aside, let's take a minute. Let's talk about Eddie's box. Let's get this out there, and then we're going to get on to the next one. And then we're going to get on to the next one, and we're going to get on to the next one. So the gears and the gears are down, the tires are on the ground, and we're running around the taxiway. Let's go hit the hangar, and let's go take off again. So give me just a minute. I'm going to pull the camera off the tripod, and we're going to do the thing that you all love. Let's do the video porn. I did her like this, I did her like that, I even did her with a wiffle ball bat. So now I'm gonna run, the cops got my guns right about time. I got to have some fun. Oh, Eddie, if you could do me a favor and quit mauling your box, that would be totally awesome. Okay, so I get Eddie's amp here. Now, Eddie's one of these guys that doesn't understand the quantity of work I got sitting on the shelf, right? Like I said, this is the 4th time this box has been back here, and every single time it ends up being the same problem. Except for this time. It presented a new problem to me, which could have been the key to all of his problems. Eddie sends the amp up, and he thinks that the day that it shows up here is going to be the day I'm going to be able to work on it. No, I've had people here, Eddie, that have been waiting for me to work on their stuff going on like 8, 9 months on certain projects. So it's a first come, first served basis, and I try to keep things in order. I grab Eddie's box and I throw it on the bench because I wanted to quickly go through it. I'd already had it here just a couple months ago, and we discovered a couple months ago that the 3rd time around he kept blowing these caps. This is 140 puff, 1000 volt SM Mylar capacitor. Okay, polypropylene, or God, I don't want to use the wrong term because then these guys are going to pick it apart. This is Mylar, and then they encapsulate this in I want to say polypropylene, but I know that's not right. Anyhow, they encapsulate this they encapsulate the Mylar in this coating. Well, the coating on these is designed to help radiate heat. So what it's showing to me is that these caps are getting hot. Now, this is the same style cap that you'd use to tune a standard 4-pill section. So this is one 4-port, and it's a 1 4-pill section. So you got like port 1 and port 2, port 1 and port 2. What happens is these caps, as they're doing their job, they get fairly warm. So how we offset that is we take one of the fans, usually, and that we have the air flow in. It's going to flow down and go around the caps. Well, we'd use this in a 16-pill, a 12-pill. This is a standard tuning device. Well, this isn't adequate enough for Eddie, because the higher you go with your dead carrier, the more pressure you put upon this cap electrically, okay? So if you run your dead key really high, and I mean like really high, like 400 or 500 watts, 600 watts out of an 8-pill, which is ridiculously high, which I'm not saying the amp can't do it, it's just the parts around it couldn't hold up to whatever he's doing. Now, I don't know what kind of environment he's got this in. I don't know if this is like sealed up in his trunk and it's in a enclosed space or what the deal is. But every single time it's come here, these caps have been popped, okay? So this coax connector used to be the old output coax connector. I want to show this too. So we replaced it with a brand new Teflon gold center conductored coax connector, and real Teflon, not the 99-cent one that is made of TPFN or TEEN or whatever. Real Teflon. If we look down on the inside of this coax connector, if it will focus, you'll see it's jet black. That's because this connector doesn't conduct anything anymore. This pin, and where the little leaves are, the little fingers that sit on the inside of the connector, is all electrically burnt on the inside and burnt off. This is a dud, dead, done, doesn't do anything else. I hook my coaxes up to it just to see if I can talk through it. I can't hear through it, nor can I talk through it. And I track down my connection point being bad here. If your output coax connector goes bad, especially when you have the box in operation, the RF that's in the amplifier's got no place to go. Now Eddie's gotten smart, and he starts looking at his wattage. And he's seen it drop off and quit, so he quit talking on the box. Good job, my man. Very cool. But what did happen is this output resistor keeps smoking. Well, it's doing its job. As soon as there's an imbalance in the circuit, it doesn't matter if you've got a 100-watt resistor there. If there's an imbalance in the circuit, either being on the output side, the reflect, or something goes in imbalance, harmonically imbalance in the box, that resistor and these resistors have to suck up 100% of the output load. So the resistor that was in here was chooched. I mean, just powder coat white. I went, great. He popped another one of these caps. That's what I seen visually. But first I wanted to check it. Now, as we walk through here, we'll see that every single resistor, 10 ohmers still in stock, is still just the way it was. And every one of the transistors is exactly good. So the pills are good. The parts are good. So that told me it was on the output section of the box. Hooked the coax up to it. Figured out we had a blown coax connector. No big deal. Changed it out. Put a new one in it. And I thought, you know, I'm really tired of this thing coming back with these blown out. They're not in here anymore. I replaced them with about $40 a piece doorknobs. There's about $100 in parts right here. I don't care what that costs me. I just want Eddie to be happy. So, gone. No more. Gone. No more. Guess what? Change these caps out, replace that resistor, put a new coax connector in there, and it runs like a raped animal. So let's run around the band real quick, and let's get to the part everybody enjoys. Ready? Now let's see if we can all say it together. This is a 1,000-watt slug in PEP, 1,000-watt slug in average, 5-watt slug in reverse back from the bird, 10,000-watt dummy load. Today we're going to use the RCI 2950, and we're going to use this 5-watt slug in reverse between the RCI 2950 and, of course, the amplifier. I've said that a couple thousand times on video, you guys. I really have. And it's a kick in the pants to be able to go, and every once in a while I'll go watch another guy's video and I have to do the same thing. It's the same diatribe. You got to spit it out there, otherwise nobody knows what they're looking at. And you got to have your elements in Bird 43 cases sitting out with nothing else around them, otherwise nobody believes the numbers you put up on the chart. That's all I'm going to say about that. So let me show you some drive. Hello. Hello. Our nice anemic Cobra 20 or 2950 or RCA 2950. It does about 20 watts. Run on 14 volts to the amplifier. Here's our pass-through tune. And what I mean by that, guys, just a refresher course, is this is the RF coming in. What we're measuring is the impedance bump from the input coax to the output coax in the off position, which is really important. Because if you have a high pass-through SWR, that means you have shitty receive. Resistance is resistance is resistance is resistance. All right, so we're going to turn this thing on. Now, Eddie's got the switch that's on the front of it, 8-pill or 2x8. So we're going to turn the amp on. We're going to run it in the 8-pill selection first. Variable's cranked all the way open. Here's our input circuit. RF comes in, hits the relay. We tell it what we want to do with it. Do we want to run it over here? Or do we want to run it through here and then over here? Right now we have it bypassed. We're just going to talk directly into the 8-pill section. So we're going to hit the 8-pill on 14 volts. I'm going to hit it with 20 watts of power. Hello, audio. Hello, audio. Hello. About 750 to 800 watts. Hello, audio. About 200 bird. Input tune on the 8-pill section. Hello. Less than a half a watt. Please note what it did. Dead key. Modulated. It means the input circuit is falling into resonance as you're increasing your voltage or otherwise your input power from the radio, which is what we want for when we flip the switch and we go to the 2-pill section. Now it's going to bury this thing off the chart, but I got to show it anyhow so you guys can follow along. Okay. Just buries it. We're going to take this thing and we're going to go up in the selector, so now we're at 2x. So full deflection on this thing is about 2,000 watts, or is 2,000 watts. So remember, 1,000 watt scale is going to be right there in the middle. The average meter we're going to leave alone. About 1,800 and some change, 1,900 and some change. And almost 3 times the bird at 550 watts. It's working. It's working good. 14 volts with a low RMS producing radio. Input tune on the 2x8. Dead key. Hello, audio. Beautiful. Eddie, you're all fixed up again, buddy. Now hopefully, if we can keep our dead key down. See, we can't, you can maul it. There's an 800 watt carrier. 700 watt carrier. Or we can run it down here a little bit more realistic at about 100, 100 and a half. Which takes a lot of pressure off these caps. And will make the box run a little bit cooler. So what are we putting into this for input drive to get that? Let's turn the amp off. Turn a 5 watt slug around. A 2.5 watt dead key. 2.5 watts. Keep your dead key below about 2.5 watts, Eddie. 3 watts. It's going to last you forever. But your carrier, if you're mauling the box real hard and you don't have super high flow fans, like these are just moderate flow fans, you can't move enough air around the caps to keep them cool. They break down from heat. They fail. Well, guys, I'm back, and I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to keep producing these things and keep on having fun. I got a lot of work over here I got to do. You're going to see a lot of videos in the next month. I'm not taking any days off until the middle of next month. So I'm going to literally work 7 days a week. And I'm going to be putting in about 14, 16-hour days out here in the shop. So hope you all appreciate it. remember, if this is your first time ever watching any one of my videos, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to click on the alarms. That way you can follow along. I appreciate y'all's support. Gentlemen, my name is BBI, and without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Come follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube. Make sure to hit subscribe. Appreciate y'all. On to the next one. And the next one. And the next one. And the next one. And the next one. I'll see you guys. Bump, bump.